So this information that I'm sharing here comes to me during meditation. So when I sit early in the mornings and I go inside and I'm able to reach a place within myself where I can see who I am, and I can see that I'm not a body, and that the world that the body reveals to me is not the totality of reality. It's not all there is. And because I understand that the body does not actually see, it perceives. And so what it sees is just a tiny, tiny fraction of the whole. And this is not seeing that this is choice, basically. Because of that understanding, it just helps me reach that place inside much easier, because I can use my logical mind to go beyond the body and go beyond the body experiences and go into the place where I can see who I am and what the meaning of myself is and what the meaning of God is. Because to come to that place inside yourself where you see who you are, you automatically come to the realization of what God is, but also what everyone else is. And so we're all part of this oneness. And this is the understanding of knowledge. Knowledge will set us free. It's not the knowledge of this world that will set us free, but it's the knowledge of who we are. And we're not bodies. We are spiritual beings in body experiences. So when I reach to this place inside myself where I can see who I am, I can understand clearly that it's not money that I'm needing or wanting. It's actually just the power of God. Because if I have that power, then I can do anything. I am not at the mercy of anybody or anything outside myself. So with that power within me, I am free. I am free, and I am free to create. And I don't mean create as in making things with my hands, but creating with my mind, using my mind to create, because that is the instrument of creation. Thoughts are creative. It is thoughts that is creating everything that we ask for, everything that we need. All our beliefs, whether they are right or wrong, are all being created so that we can see and experience them as real. But because if we are in a state where we've forgotten who we are and we believe we are bodies and we've lost the power within us, it's still there, but we've just lost sight of it because we believe in something else. We believe in money. We believe we need money to survive. We need money to do all the things we need to do. We must follow all these laws of the world that man has made in fear, and all the time we are lost in that illusion. Then that is what the world brings to us. It shows us that is the truth of what we believe. You know, the world is a place of experience. We come here to experience the truth of what we believe. So if we believe insanely about ourselves because we've forgotten who we are, then we will see that as true and we will experience that as true. So it's necessary to reach this place inside ourselves so that we can see who we are and therefore understand fully that it is not money that we're needing, and that money is part of a deception. And this is why governments, their main focus is commerce and capitalism, and their main focus is taking money from the people through taxes and through fines and through other forms of licensing. And this is why to the government, tax evasion is a very serious offence in the eyes of the law, but this is only because governments worship money. And it's not just governments that worship money. There are many other organizations, in fact nearly all the organizations worship money. And because all the people worship money, we've all been deceived into believing that money is powerful. And we even have many New Age understandings that we call New Age. We have people teaching that money is something from God. And this is not true, because money was not created by God. God created power. God created freedom. God created abundance. And to not have that is to be powerless, is to be weak, is to be in poverty and in loss. And so we've created a money system as a means of keeping hidden from our awareness that we are actually the meanings of Christ. The meaning of Christ is within us. The meaning of God is within us. The universe is within us. It's all happening within us. And so everything that we think is happening outside of us is part of our own consciousness, but it is happening within us. I don't mean it's happening within the body. I mean it's happening within the mind, and the mind is vast and eternal. So when we come to that place of understanding within ourselves that we can see that we are the Son of God, we are part of that, and that we carry that power within us, that power to create, then what happens is we let go of the other beliefs which just simply aren't true, because we can see them for what they truly are. We can see that they're illusions, and they're leading us to hell, and they're leading us to war, and they're leading us to nothingness, because everyone who chases money is chasing nothingness, because money is an illusion, and illusion is nothing. Being a dream, it has no substance, and everyone knows that when they wake up in the morning, everything that happened in the dream has gone completely, has disappeared. Anything we thought we had within the dream has completely vanished. But the power of God is eternal, and it lasts forever, and it never disappears. It might be rejected. We are able to reject it by denying who we are. That is our free will. And this is why evil only maintains its rule by deceiving us into believing things that aren't true, so that we willingly choose to follow our fears and follow the ways of evil. So for me, what led me into this place of inner knowing was basically I was not working, and I haven't worked for many years, and yet I still had a family that I was sole provider on, as in my understanding at that time. I was the sole income, and this brought up a lot of fear in me after some years, and a lot of anxiety because of our situation. It just felt unbearable to me. But instead of following those fears and behaving as if those fears are true and real, I was being guided to go into the fears. And by going into the fears, it led me to a place inside myself where I could see who I am. It took a while, it took a long time, it felt like it took ages. It took many years of constantly going inside. First thing in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, when these fears would arise, I would meditate and go into these intense fears and anxieties until I got to that place eventually where I could see who I was. And then all the fears just disappear, because once you know who you are, once you see the power within you, you realize that all the fears are telling you are but denials of who we are. So the fear denies who we are. The fear denies God, basically. So every time we are responding in any way to a fear as if it's real, we are doing it because we've denied who we are. We've forgotten who we are. We have denied what God is. We've denied the power of God, we've denied the will of God, and we've denied the love of God. So every time we are responding to a fear as if it is real and as if it is true, we are falling into the hands of an evil belief, which is deception. And this is what is happening in the world. We are all chasing money because we're all trying to find safety and security and abundance, but we are being deceived and we are being used as slaves by governmental systems and monetary systems and capitalist systems, which all worship money. They all worship money, and because they worship money, it makes them a part of a deceptive belief. It makes them part of the problem, basically. There's nothing wrong with money, and there's nothing wrong with wanting the things that we want, and there's nothing wrong with asking for the things that we need. But when we're looking for them in the wrong place, where they cannot be found, then we are always going to be left lacking and in a place of loss, because looking for something where it doesn't exist is looking for nothingness. And so looking for money, asking for money, is really but asking for powerlessness. And, governments, their idea of power is so tied up in money that it is virtually impossible to trust the government nowadays, because the deception is so obscene within the government. And this is why we have the laws that we have constantly putting more laws into society, trying to control society, trying to extract more control out of people, trying to enslave people more, but always under the guise that we are freeing people, that we are creating a better world for ourselves. But this is simply just about everyone on the planet, I would imagine, apart from those in governments who do believe in the systems that they are following, and the judicial and the medical and all these kind of capitalist institutions. They fully believe what they're doing is right and what they're doing is true and what they're doing is for the best. But the fact that they are completely in a state of forgetfulness, they've forgotten completely who they are, and they are trusting completely in an illusion, the illusion of money, that everything that they do lead us to by laying more and more laws on us, and more rules, and more fines, and more licenses, and more restrictions. All that is doing is pushing us deeper into a hellish realm. But this is all part of the undoing process, because this is what my experience was. The more you go into that hellish realm, the more the suffering becomes acute, the deeper you look within yourself. And eventually the suffering does lead us out of the darkness. It leads us to a place inside where we can see who we are. We can see that the world is not what we thought it was, that the body is not what we thought it was, that each other is not who we thought they were. Ultimately, everyone are part of a oneness. We are all part of a oneness. We're all the meaning of Christ. And so all the time we're fighting and killing each other and warring with each other, we are clearly lost to knowledge. We are clearly lost to the truth. And so this is such there's so much complexity in this world, because the ego is part of the mind. It's part of the lower mind. It's part of the mind that's forgotten. It's the darkness within the mind that is forgotten. That is a false authority, a false identity, and that mind that is the ego, is still part of the mind of God. And so its power and its imagination is unlimited. I wouldn't say its power is unlimited. Its ability to deceive is unlimited. It is completely creative in as much as it will come up with anything to deceive. It has there's no limits to what it can deceive us with. We can be deceived in so many different ways. All the time we are willing to be deceived. So part of this undoing process is coming to the understanding that we don't want to be deceived. When we come to the understanding that we want the truth to be true, you want to know that I want to know the truth. I only want to know the truth. I do not want illusions to be true. I do not want what is false to be true. I do not want dreams to be true. What I want is for the truth to be true and only the truth to be true. And once I am willing to accept that, then there is a slow process of undoing all the deception and all the lies. And it can be quite challenging at times because for a while, we are in we've got our feet in two camps. We got our feet in we got our thoughts or our mind or our will with the Creator and with the higher mind, but we've also got a part of us that is still heavily attached to the lower mind. And when this happens and we have two opposing beliefs, things become very confusing. We can become very fearful, we can become very confused, we can see a lot of hopelessness because nothing seems to make sense. It's a very challenging experience, but you can get through it because you're not alone. There is a whole battalion of light beings surrounding you. Once you decide that you want to return to the truth of who you are, that you've had enough suffering, that you've had enough chasing money, you've had enough of all the silly adverts and the silly never-ending opportunities to make more money, make more abundance, make more. When we realize that we're actually not making, we are just taking. All we're doing is taking from one and giving to another. And usually most money is being directed into the hands of very, very few people, while the majority of the world lives in poverty. But once we've had enough of chasing this dragon, this vicious monster. It's not a dragon, it's just a monster. And once we've had enough of chasing this monster and we decide that we actually don't know, that's also the other thing, is you realize that you actually don't know. You want to know, and at the moment you don't know. So when you get to that place of realizing that I surrender because I don't know, I surrender my beliefs because actually I don't know. What I think I know, I could be wrong. And I'd rather be wrong if it makes me happy than being right if it means the world is what I think it is, which is, seeing suffering and pain and war and destruction and hopelessness in the world. So once we come to that place inside where we'd actually prefer to be wrong than to be right, and we are willing to have our beliefs changed, then there is basically a battalion of light beings that will surround you and start helping you to find your way. And so even though it's challenging at times, you're never alone. You're never alone, even though you think you're alone at times, because it does get super challenging. You do get through it. It does end. It's a very important part of the undoing process of believing that we need money to survive in this world. Money was not created by God. Money was created out of fear. So money is part of an evil that's in the world. It's not created by God, And anyone who tells you money is was created in the mind of a loving creator are being deceived, because money has got nothing to do with love. Love is eternal. Love is everywhere. Love is the meaning of who you are, is the meaning of your creation. And yet money is nothing. It's a nothingness. It's a nothingness that is being used to enslave us out of ignorance, because we are using our own will to be enslaved. We are agreeing with the deceptions, and so this is how evil works. It doesn't work by overpowering us, because there is no power in evil. It is entirely dependent on who we are. So we give it power, so it must deceive us. So it deceives us, we give it the power, and then it has the ability to do all the atrocities that it does, and all the destruction that it aims towards. But the minute we take our power away from it, the minute we stop feeding governments, the minute we stop feeding them our money, they will disappear. They will, because their power is only tied to the money. This is why governments are completely enmeshed in commerce and capitalism, because they worship money. And the capitalist mindset it's not leading us towards heaven, it's leading us towards destruction. So I'm not suggesting that we are going to reject money, but that we are going to reject what money is. And so we want to see it for what it truly is and not for what it is not. Money is still a useful tool in this world at this time. We need money for this reason. So we need money because we are not evolved enough yet. So we still have need of money. So I'm not saying, or I'm not suggesting you deny money and you reject money. What I'm saying is you learn to see money for what it truly is. And in this way, it will come to you because of who you are, not because of what you've done. Money at the moment comes to us because of what we've done. We have to work for it. We have to slave for it. We have to sacrifice ourselves for it. We sacrifice our lives, which is our power. Our power is our life. We sacrifice our lives for money so that we can live and so that we can be free. And it's crazy. What a crazy idea. So by seeing money for what it truly is and not for what it's not, by seeing who you are, you have to go into yourself. You have to see who you are so that the belief becomes your foundation. So once you've gone inside and you've seen who you are, that you are the meaning of Christ, that Christ has its meaning within you, that you are part of that oneness, and you are not a body, and you are not powerless, and you are not without the means to do anything that you want, then once you've gone inside and seen that, your foundation has changed. Your beliefs have a new foundation. And with that, you then start entering into the world with a completely new understanding of who you are, but also who everyone else is. And because it is aligned with truth and with reality, everything starts coming your way. Because everyone is ultimately looking for the same thing. Everyone is ultimately looking for love, looking for freedom, looking for joy, looking for abundance. And so when people see that you have that within you, they bring you more. They bring you more because they want what you've got. And once they start looking at you as a form of light, as a form of hope, then they will become your friends. They will become the guides along your pathway through life. They will be the ones that help you. They will become your helpers. And you will be helping them because you will be shining light on them and teaching them, and they will become like you because of who you are. So it's a transference of knowledge and a transference of power into a state of where we all become a part of a oneness again. And the laws that separate us, and the governments that separate us, and the countries and the borders and the nationalities and all this that separates us, all that will be undone, because all of that is part of an illusion. The world was not created with these borders or these boundaries. It was not created with these countries and these national identities, and it was not created with these laws. All of this have been added to it, and it's all been done out of fear, and it's all been done out of evil. And all the time we are fighting to uphold those national territories and those laws and those governments. Then we are basically just creating hell for ourselves. And when we stop believing in it, because we start to see who we are inside ourselves, then we have the power to change the world.